Baby, don't move now. Baby, don't move. You gotta stand still right now, where I can see you. There's a feeling in my heart so strange. Baby, I don't want you to change. Just stay the same, and everything will be okay. Promise I will always wait for you to go and find your own way.
Love, romance, happily ever after. Were these the things that Rose Burkert and Roger Atkison were looking for the night of September 12, 1980, when they were both brutally murdered in their motel room? We can only speculate about the relationship between the young couple from St. Joseph, Missouri. Authorities were only able to gather a few details that may have brought the two of them together. 22-year-old Rose Burkert was a single mother of her 2-year-old daughter, Rachel. Rose worked at Laverna Village Nursing Home while furthering her career as a nurse trainee at a hospital in St. Joseph. Those who were close to Rose said that she devoted most of her time to her daughter and to the residents of the nursing home. Rose's sister Catherine said, "She didn't do anything without her daughter Rachel." 32-year-old Roger Atkison was married and had no children. He was employed as a telephone installer and repairman for the General Telephone Company where he worked for 7 years. Roger and his wife were born-again Christians and members of Kings Hill Baptist Church. He sang in the church choir and taught Sunday school. Good-natured and sensitive, Roger often volunteered to drive and repair the church bus. Roger's wife, Marcella, said, "Church was at the center of our lives." Burkert and Atkison met the summer before they were murdered when Roger installed a phone at her home. The families of the victims claimed to have had no knowledge of their relationship. After just a few months of seeing each other, Roger and Rose decided to get away and spend a few days out of town. Rose felt uneasy about leaving her child, but in the end she relented and asked a friend and co-worker, Shirley Robertson, to care for her daughter while she was away. On Wednesday, September 10th, Rose dropped Rachel off at her friend's house and traveled to Cahokia where Roger was on a work assignment for the phone company. She registered at a motel as Atkison's wife. On Friday, September 12th, the couple drove Rose's car over 120 miles from Cahokia, Missouri, to the Amana Holiday Inn in Williamsburg, Iowa. The motel was located just off Interstate 80. After speaking to the clerk at the front desk, Roger and Rose learned that the motel was booked up. Discouraged, the couple was about to leave when they were told that there was a cancellation and room 260 was now available. At 7:40 p.m., they registered as Mr. and Mrs. Roger Burkert. Of course, they were relieved that the room suddenly became available, but what was about to happen in room 260 would forever end any chance of happiness that the couple had recently found together. For those who believe in the mystical power of numbers, it is said that the number 260 is an angel number that is calling upon you to share love and affection. Then again, it can also be alerting you to challenges that lie ahead, warning you of life-changing events. That is indeed what Roger and Rose would experience inside room 260. Authorities were able to piece together the following details. Once Rose got to their room located on the second floor, she placed a call to her friend back in St. Joseph. Mrs. Robertson was at work and someone else took the call. "I didn't get the call," Robertson said. "I imagine she was calling to check on Rachel." Mrs. Robertson went on to state that she knew Rose had planned to meet Roger in Cahokia, but she said that is all she knew. Authorities believe that at some point in the evening, Roger and Rose opened the door and let the assailant in their room because there was no signs of forced entry. It appeared that there were no signs of a struggle. The couple were forced to lay face down on the bed. Rose was wearing a pink blouse and jeans. Roger was wearing jeans and work shoes. Using an axe or a hatchet, the assailant struck Roger on the back of his head several times. A source close to the investigation stated, "Put your hand on the back of your head, right between your ears. That's where the blows were." The fingers on Roger's left hand were badly cut. At least 2 of them were nearly severed at the first joint above the knuckles, as if he had put his hand behind his head to protect himself. The wounds to Rose's head were in the exact location as Roger's. It appeared as if the assailant leaned over Roger to strike Rose. The back of their skulls were slashed and caved in by repeated blows. After they were murdered, the assailant left Roger face down but turned Rose partially onto her side. He covered the bodies with a bedsheet, taking more care to cover Rose than Roger. Though the room was ransacked, nothing was taken. 2 chairs were pulled up close to the bed. Authorities speculated that the assailant may have sat there to talk to the couple, or sat there to look through Roger's wallet after murdering them. The entire contents of the wallet was scattered across the floor. Rose's wallet was left untouched. Investigators found strange details at the scene. A bloody towel was found in the bathroom containing unidentified male DNA. Toothpaste had been squirted in the bathtub. Evidence showed that the assailant put his feet up on a desk and then casually carved a piece of soap and used it to write the word "this" on the bathroom mirror. Authorities said room 260 was located in an obscure corner of the motel's second floor, and its location may have prevented the other guests from hearing any screams or noises. They also noted that the TV had been left on. Sheriff William Spurrier reported that shortly after noon on Saturday, September 13th, a housekeeper knocked on the door several times and got no answer. She tried to open the door, but it was locked. The housekeeper got a pass key from the manager and returned to the room. Spurrier said, "She opened the door and saw feet. Thinking they were asleep, she peered in further." Upon discovering the gruesome scene, the housekeeper ran to get the manager. After confirming that a murder had been committed, he immediately notified the sheriff's department. Sheriff Spurrier described the case as his most perplexing in his 32 years of law enforcement. "It's weird. We have no motive. All their belongings were in the room. There were a lot of traveler's checks, yet nothing was taken." Over 400 guests and employees were questioned, and not one person remembered seeing anyone enter the busy motel and gain entry to room 260, which could only be done from inside the building. Medical examiner Stacy Howell had this to say in his report. Autopsies performed on the bodies show that each had severe skull lacerations. Both victims were struck several times with an instrument strong and sharp enough to penetrate the skull. Howell said, "We don't have the murder weapon yet, but it takes a lot to cut through a skull, as in Mr. Atkison's case." Howell went on to state that the cause of death was an acute loss of blood. Atkison sustained lacerations of the scalp, skull, and brain. Burkert sustained lacerations of the scalp, skull, and a contusion to her brain. The horror that had taken place in room 260 is beyond comprehension. 2 lives savagely taken. Oddly enough, the hustle and bustle of the guests went on as if nothing of great importance had taken place just a few feet beyond their own rooms. Shock of the tragedy quickly eased away for the motel's employees. One manager commented, "We keep so busy that you don't really even have time to think about it." The mystery of Roger and Rose's murder deepened, just as the investigation seemed to cool rapidly. The only possible link to the killings that drew the attention of investigators was the murder of William R. Kyle Jr. from Peoria, Illinois. Kyle was a traveling salesman for a lumber company, and he was found murdered on June 25, 1980 at a Sheraton Inn along an interstate highway in Galesburg. The salesman was found slumped over the side of his bed face down. He had been beaten above the shoulders with a sharp, heavy instrument that could have possibly have been a hatchet. The room was ransacked, and the assailant had gone through Kyle's wallet and scattered the contents on the floor. Toothpaste had been squirted out near his body. Kyle was wearing an expensive watch, and none of his belongings had been taken, so authorities ruled out robbery as a possible motive. Investigators stated that when murders like these occur, you have to figure the killer was either mad as hell at the victim or they got their kicks out of doing this kind of thing. One suspect that police questioned in connection with William Kyle's murder was Raimundo Esparza, a vagrant and a heroin addict. Witnesses placed him at the scene the night of Kyle's murder and claimed to have seen him with a bag of tools. The case against Esparza was built on circumstantial evidence, and he was never charged. Although police believe the two cases were connected, there was never enough evidence to link any one suspect to the murders. Over the decades, authorities would follow up on every lead that came across their desk, always remaining hopeful that the murders of Roger and Rose would one day be solvable. The following are a few of the theories authorities carefully examined while investigating the murders of Rose and Roger. Around the time of the murders, many thought that cultists were responsible for the killings. Suspicions were drawn from the mutilations of several cattle in the area. No link between a cult and the murders was ever found. Roger's wife Marcella also became a person of interest. According to one of Roger's brothers, Marcella stopped by his home the day before the murders and broke down in tears. The reason for her emotional outburst was never given. He also stated that Roger had asked Marcella for a divorce many times, and her response was always to open her Bible and declare that divorce was a sin. When asked about her husband's murder, Marcella said that without knowing exactly why Roger was with another woman, she was prepared to make no judgments. People do things that we don't really understand. It's not our place on earth to judge whether you did bad. This last theory has to do with Rose's ex-boyfriend, Danny Burton. Rose had kicked him out of her home after finding out that he was using drugs. Rose filed a report with the sheriff's office claiming that Burton was stalking her. Burton was questioned after the murders, but was found to have an alibi. To further clear his name, he took a polygraph test and passed. Danny Burton was never charged. Rose Burkert and Roger Atkison were looking to get away from failed relationships. They were looking for love. What they found in room 260 was pure evil. Evil that has escaped justice for 43 years. If you have any information about the murders of Rose Burkert or Roger Atkison, please contact the Williamsburg, Iowa Police Department at 319-668-9277. Thank you for tuning in today. If you like our videos and would like to help our channel grow, Please consider sharing this video with a friend. Also, if you aren't already subscribed to EOJ, please consider doing so. It's completely free and it's the best way to stay in the loop about our channel and get notified when videos will be uploaded. As always, stay well and be safe. Until we see you again with another cold case, this has been Eye on Justice.